Take heed or bleed. You got it wrong. God hate to see a brother on his knees begging another man, please. Herb made my mental worse. Used to put my mind at ease. No longer pure is cursed. Telling me to burst first. Fuck hurt. Is he murked forever? One with the dirt. I know it's cold to say. God forgive me. She knows that anything goes today. Words cut like a razor blade, but slugs burn like a flaming lake. Every day is a gamble with fate. Wrong or right, my life's the fight to be great. Success or mistakes, I take responsibility for every calculated move I make. The stress with no breaths or breaks makes
Yo, what's shaking? How you parlaying in your day to day? Hopefully everything is great. Top of the morning to you. That goes for the evening and afternoon too. And I want to chop it up to you about guns. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of talk about gun control, how guns are affecting our society at this moment. Everybody has different opinions, and I want to share mine with you real quick, if I could. I feel as though, first off, again, let me tell you this, my disclaimer. This is my perspective. You could disagree, agree, it's all good. I just want to share with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to contribute or pay tribute to you, you know what I'm saying, and help you understand how I process it, how I see it. I feel as though everything is what you make it. And I'm going to say that into my dying day. Everything is what you make it. You feel me? So that being said, I feel as though people with guns kill people, not guns. I know you've probably heard that saying before. You might agree, you might disagree, but that's my philosophy. It's not the guns that kill people, it's the people with guns that kill people. Because if they didn't have the gun, they would find different ways to bring their opponent to a place of non-existence. You know what I'm saying? They'll find different ways to do it, but it just so happens that the gun is an easy access item, you know what I'm saying? That's easily accessible, easily used, and in some cases easily discarded, you know what I'm saying? But it's the people, not the actual weapon, that's killing the people, you know what I'm saying? The weapon is just a means toward the end goal, which in this case is, you know, murder, you know? And the reason I wanted to bring it up is because when it comes to us as human beings, you have the right to defend yourself, you know what I'm saying, your being, your person, by any means necessary. And I mean that. Not in a cliche way, not in a poetic, you know what I'm saying, black power, you know, fight the system way. I mean, your person, you know what I'm saying, your personal being, you as a person have the right to defend, you know what I'm saying, your flesh, or who your ability to continue on. You know what I'm saying? You have the right to do that as a human being. Forget the laws, forget the amendments. You know what I'm saying? Even in their constitution, it says as a Second Amendment right, you have the right to bear arms. So that being said, with that right, you know what I'm saying? Taking the laws and the amendments out of the equation, you as a person have the right to defend your being. You have the right to defend, you know what I'm saying, your ability to survive by any means, however that may play out. You know what I'm saying? That being said, I would submit to you that in a modern society such as the one we live in, that might be the most surefire way to defend your livelihood, your family's livelihood. You know what I'm saying? Your tribesmen and tribeswomen's livelihood. Whatever tribe you identify as a part of, you know what I'm saying? For the protection of their person, of their being, you know what I'm saying, of their well-being, that might be the best tool to make sure that you're able to do that, to defend your life and the life of the ones you love. Now, that being said, everything that is utilized should be understood, you know? Anything that you do, anything that you use, you know what I'm saying, should be understood to properly utilize what's being used, you know what I'm saying? If you don't fully understand what you're doing or what you're using, you will misuse it, you'll mishandle it. You feel me? So in the case of armament, you see what I'm saying? When it comes to weapons or guns specifically, you should train yourself on how to use it without question. Find some kind of way, even if you don't go to a range or something like that. If you're in possession of a firearm, of a pistol, you should be busting it at some point to get the feel for it, the kind of kickback. You get me? You know what I'm saying? What your aim is looking like at the moment that you get this firearm. You see what I'm saying? You need to be practical with it. Don't have it just to flash it, you know? Why? That's no different than a chain then, you know what I'm saying? Or a new ring. You feel me? Or in some cases, a car. Why would you have it just to flash it? That should be a practical tool, you know what I'm saying? That should be something that is used in the vein of self-defense. Now, that being said, all things can be misused. Anything can be mishandled, you know? It's the same with guns. And the problem that I feel like we run into in this society is they're not looking at the person that's mishandling the weapon. They're just more so looking at the weapon, you know? Whereas really the person that's behind the tool, you know what I'm saying, that's utilizing the tool, that's the defective party in that equation, you know? That's the detriment, you know? That's what needs to be looked at and examined. But never do I believe you should use a pistol to coerce, instill fear, you know? To me, it should only be used for the sake of defending your life, your person. You know what I'm saying? And those who you love. But again, that's just my opinion. Some people might utilize it for different reasons. Think about this for a second. When the country took a shift, right? Where, for us, those of mine, what do you think things went wrong as far as our livelihood, you know what I'm saying, our survival? Because if you agree that the police stands in the way of our continuing, of our existence, you know what I'm saying? If they are a direct hindrance from us proceeding, progressing, raising up throughout history, you know what I'm saying? If you feel as though police have a high body count when it comes to those among us, you know what I'm saying, as far as the ones they're killing and catching that body count by way of, if you believe that, then what do you think things started to change and shift? I'm gonna tell you this. Once the police became an actual organization, you feel me, they stopped being slave catchers, and then they started to put on the badge and the uniform and got all the equipment, the armaments, you know what I'm saying, the bulletproof vests and guns and shotguns and sticks and mace and all. That's armament, as if you're going to war. You know what I'm saying? Artillery is only necessary when there's an enemy, to me. So things began to shift once the police became organized, and that was a concession for the favored but less profitable class in this country. Let's put it like that. You know, those who had the wealth were a certain class, you know what I'm saying? Those underneath that are a certain class, but then the class beneath that are divided based on the favor or lineage or, you know what I'm saying, connection that the ones with the resources have with the people that are being separated below. So of course, those of mine didn't get that favor. So the laws were not amended in our benefit. You feel me? Positions weren't allotted for our benefit. Land wasn't allotted for our benefit. Resources weren't handed over for our benefit. We were not the favorite class. But there's a class that was favored, that resembled those with the resources. And what was their concession? The police department, fire department, you see what I'm saying? EMT, hospitals, EMTs, place things that directly affect the well-being of the people in the midst of people in these positions. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna come a time and place where you get sick, wounded, something where you're gonna need medical assistance. If the person who is not in favor of your life is in charge of that position and is in that position, your going to the hospital might not be a beneficial move, you know? You might not make it out. You see? So what I'm saying is this society allotted different positions to different groups, you know? And that's what things went wrong, because upon giving that position or bestowing that position on certain people with certain prejudices and sensibilities, you know, you're equipping these people who are prejudiced, who have ulterior motives. You're equipping them with guns, mace, sticks, armament, weapons. And now they're in control not only of these weapons, but of the people who are subject to their position. And if you're already coming into the situation with prejudice, therein lies the conflict, the murders, the body count raising, you know? That's where it went wrong. Once they flooded the ranks of police officers in every state in this country, that's where things went wrong. We could talk about the hospitals, fire department, things like that later. You feel me? But as far as the police are concerned, that's where things took a turn for us, because the brutality was now in the vein of quote unquote justice. You know what I'm saying? The injustice was being dealt by a person that was quote unquote in a position to serve and protect. Serve and protect who? If you murder me, are you here to serve and protect me? And it seems like you're here to take my life. So who are you serving and protecting? It can't be us. So I'm saying that to say the badge became a shield for the atrocities. The uniform became a shield for the atrocities. That being said, that's where we went wrong. How do I think we can combat that? If you think about this, today in this time right now, right? Police is a thing. You know, they are a solidified organization, a body, a militia, whatever you want to call them. They are a solidified army, right? If those of mine learn a way to meet fire with fire, you know, sometimes you got to work through the system to beat the system, you know. The way to work through the system and beat the system when it comes to our protection against police, I feel as though, and this is just using their laws and amendments and things against them. There are different ways to go about this, but I'm not gonna get on YouTube and say this. But as far as like doing things the right way, the best way to combat that occupying force that is the police is if those are mine, hopefully more so the men, but women too, no disrespect to the fair sex. You know, y'all are just as strong as the men are, you know? But I feel as though men need to be the forerunners, you know what I'm saying, on the front line of this suggestion right here. What if we get bodyguarding licenses? We go through the process, we get a legal firearm, and we learn the trade of being bodyguards. So legally, on paper, according to the documentation, we would be bodyguards. So if we have to take a life for the defense of somebody whose life we're guarding, it would be justified. The pistol is registered, all that. You feel me? And that'll be our front line against those who attempt to encroach on the well-being of our loved ones and even us. But that'll be a way, because if we all flood the ranks like they flooded the ranks back in the days, if we flood the ranks as bodyguards and we learn according to their process how to do it, and then of course we amend and, you know what I'm saying, add and put different mixes to it by way of our understanding and experiences, that's a justified way to combat those who hate us, who are in positions to do damage to us by way of that hate. You feel me? And then what's the main factor in both of those entities? Whether you're a bodyguard, you're trained to defend the life of another, or you're a police officer who has supposedly sworn to protect and serve the citizens of this country, you know? The firearm. The firearm is the main thing that made things go south for us, more so, and the main thing that can help us defend against us continuing to go south, you know what I'm saying, southbound, southward. You feel me? It's the gun, because you have to meet fire with fire, no pun intended. You know, like Malcolm said, you can only speak the language in a comprehensive way to a person that understands the language that you speak. You feel me? So if you're speaking peace in times of war to a person who has made war against you, that's not the language that warrior is speaking. You feel me? So they're not going to comprehend or understand. But if you speak in the language of war to a person who has made war against you, that language they'll be able to understand. It's the same with the gun. Now, I'm not advocating or promoting any violence. I'm not advocating or promoting the death of anybody. Um, I'm pro-life. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-growth. I'm pro-development. I'm pro-building. I'm pro all that. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me twisted. I'm just raising a topic to you and conversating about it and breaking it down according to how I see it, because it's very important. This is a daily reality for those who are in hostile environments, not hostile because of black on black crime, but I'm talking about hostile because of the external force that bears down on your environment. If you're in a situation or a city or a town or a place like that, it's very important to think about and entertain the thought that the person behind the gun plays in our devastation, not the actual tool, because that same tool, when used properly, can defend, can protect, can save. It just so happens that the tool is in the wrong hands. Think about this. What if a law was passed tomorrow, which won't happen, but just, entertain this thought real quick. What if a law was passed tomorrow that no police officer can carry a firearm? And if they're caught with a firearm, they're serving 10 years off top. No questions asked, Do not pass go, no court proceeding, no lawyers. You serving 10 off top. You going to see the judge, they banging the gavel, you getting 10. You can't fight it. No guns. How do you think they'll operate in that position? Most will probably quit because they can't use the firearm, which is their way to subdue and instill fear in the people that they come to subject. You know what I'm saying? But considering that they remain on the job, how do you think they'll maneuver in that position without the firearm? Different. Totally different. Totally different. Why did I bring that up? The tool can give false security, false courage, you know what I'm saying, to the wielder of the tool. Perfect example, you know what I'm saying? Knowledge. If I know something and I'm not a good person, that knowledge, you know what I'm saying, will be a detriment to those who I come in contact with. Because you don't know, but I know. But I might give you pieces of what I know that serve my purpose, not caring if you crash into a brick wall, Hey, I know though, you feel me? That right there is an example of a tool, which is knowledge, being misused by way of the person because of who the person is. You see? So therefore, you should or redirect your vision, not to, we hate knowledge because he got knowledge, and knowledge is evil. Knowledge is, no. The person with the knowledge is not the right one. You get me? But if that knowledge was in the right person's mental, spirit, however, wherever the knowledge is stored, if the right person had the knowledge, the effect would be different. It's no different with guns, with firearms. Because I hear a lot of people saying guns are not necessary in a civil society. And, you know what I'm saying? If guns were an option, people are going to take that option and there's going to be more murder and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that may be true. But is it actually because of the tool, the gun? Or is it how the people are who are holding the gun? The mentality and the makeup of the people who wield the gun. Is that the problem? And if that's the case, if you agree with that, why not heal the people who you feel as though will misuse the gun? Or why not, remedy the circumstances that will make that person have animosity while wielding the gun? Why is that not the focus? As opposed to trying to strip everybody's Second Amendment right because you feel like they're not conducive to a society progressing. That's garbage, because if you go to war with another country, if this country goes to war with another country, you're not going to touch down in their spot with no guns. But you want the citizens in this country, domestically, who are under attack, being suppressed, being repressed, you feel what I'm saying? Being encroached upon, to walk around and maneuver without one? without a firearm, without armament, you make it illegal for that person to wield a firearm, you know what I'm saying, in certain states. And if you're a felon, you know what I'm saying, it becomes illegal for you to own or be around a firearm. Why do you think that is? Why do you think if you're a convicted felon in this country, you know, that they strip you of your right to bear arms, you know? Why do you think that is? I'm gonna tell you why I think that is because in this society's collective conscious, you know what I'm saying? What they believe is if you go to prison, you're a criminal. Would you agree? Some people that's listening to this might agree with that. We could talk about that later, but to me, just because you're in prison doesn't mean you're a criminal. The system can put you in a place against your will depending on who you are. Just know that. So that being true, how I believe it to be, you know, you might disagree, but that being true, a person who is sentenced to prison, that doesn't make them a criminal, but society believes you are if you are a criminal. And again, according to that same stereotype, the collective conscious of this system, of this society, is a criminal will be the first one to use a gun. You feel what I'm saying? A criminal will be the first one to utilize it to bust against the shackles that are on him. You know what I'm saying? To fight off the shackles that have been attached to his feet. They believe that a criminal will be the first one to do that. But the sad thing is they see us all as criminals. So therefore, they're finding ways to strip all of us of that armament. And they don't even know the half. Some of us won't shoot a gun, bust a grape in a food fight, none of that. But according to them, they can't chance it. They got to keep a certain people in a certain pocket for however long. Probably forever if you let them tell it, but you know, they have to keep a certain people in a certain position so things can function accordingly. You know, so there's not upheaval. Because if justice was really served, this system would not be the same. If we were allowed to get up and they released their foot from off of our neck and we were able to progress and raise up and build, this country wouldn't be the same because our potential for growth far exceeds the history of this country. It far exceeds the potential of this country. It far exceeds the possibilities of this nation as it stands now. You know what I'm saying? Our growth does that. Our growth is that. You know what I'm saying? It's so the sky is the limit. And they know this. They see it in you, they see it in me, they see it in us. Those are mine. So the best way to guard against that potential being realized, you know what I'm saying, from those of mine, that potential that they see in us, the best way for it not to be realized is to stop us short. How do you stop us short? Taking our lives, you know what I'm saying? Sentencing us to 1,000,000 years for no reason, you know, depriving us of resources, shelter, you know, participation in politics, you know, social exclusion, you know, all things to keep us in a certain place. That's how you prevent it. So that's why we have to remain in that place in this society. That's how they want it. You feel me? So I'm saying that to say another step to us being deprived perpetually in this country is taking us from that which can free us from that subjection, which is arms. You know what I'm saying? Which is arms. In the modern time, any culture that was in conflict with another culture was around weapons. They had caches. They had armaments. You feel me? They were able to defend their position and also, if they chose to, conquer the enemy's position. So, of course, weapons, no matter how different the weapons might have been back then, weapons were still involved in the equation. So if you agree that we as a people are at war in this country, why do you think they're trying to strip us of our armament, of that which can defend us in our livelihoods and those who we love? Why do you think they're trying to do that? Because they understand the natural course of time. You know what I'm saying? You keep people down for so long, they're going to want, you would hope, the spirit, those who possess the spirit of freedom fighters of the past, our ancestors. Freedom fighters meaning those who are really fighting for freedom. I'm not trying to glamorize that term. I know you probably heard it a lot. I mean those who are actually fighting, which is the key word, freedom fighter. Not, you know, freedom wisher or, you know, freedom hoper or, you know what I'm saying? freedom compromiser, or I'm not saying, I'm talking about freedom fighter, fighting for freedom. You know, those who possess and embody that spirit to this day really do, you know what I'm saying, understand the circumstances in which we live, and really do want to raise up from this position, our collective position. You see what I'm saying? And those will be the ones to utilize the tools in the proper way. So I say that to say, that's why they try to keep us at bay and keep the weapons away. You know what I'm saying? They try to keep us away from armament. You get me? Now, I want to say this again. I'm not advocating that you pick up a gun and get extra aggressive for no reason, with no, you know what I'm saying, method behind why you're wielding a gun. I don't think you should just have it to flash it. I don't believe in none of that. But I do believe that if you have it, make sure you know how to use it. You see what I'm saying? You're practical with it, and then when it's time to use it, you actually use it and aim it properly. You know what I'm saying? Don't misdirect, you know, the target of your aim. Don't confuse it. Like, know who the enemy is. Because if you cannot identify your enemy, you know, everybody's a potential enemy, even the ones who should be your allies. You see, if you blind to the fact when it comes to who is your known enemy, you feel me? You will not see the unknown enemy, which means your enemy will sneak up and creep on you because you're unaware of who the enemy is. So not only does everybody become a potential enemy, so you're gonna push away your allies, you can't see the actual enemy because you're not known. So I'm saying that to say, if you have it, know how to use it and know who the enemy is and know when to use it when it's time to use it. And I don't see that as a crime. I don't see that as a bad thing. I really strongly believe, and y'all gonna trip out, y'all gonna go crazy. When it comes to us, those are mine who share my heritage. You know what I'm saying? You know my breakdown. Those are mine. You get me by now, the tribe. Those of the tribe. Tribeswomen, tribesmen, you know what I'm saying? Common genealogy. When it comes to us, I feel as though we should set up a place where if we develop our own education system, and this is idealistic, I'm finna feed to you right now. This is idealism at its finest. You know, we are a long ways away from this, but I really believe this is the remedy to one of our problems. Not only should we dictate the education of our children's formative years, I feel as though we should tailor make the education to benefit the tribe in the long run. That being said, there's a lot of knowledge that we haven't been privy to that kept us in a certain position. So check me out. I feel as though in the formative years, we should train the young ones how to use a gun. I feel as though that should be a part of the training. Of course, in an environment that's safe, protective, supportive, the proper precautions are in that environment, you know, all that considered, but we should make that a lesson that we teach the young ones, so that even if they get older and they go in different directions, they'll always have that knowledge with them, just in case they are isolated. You know what I'm saying? They won't have a negative view of a firearm because they've been familiarized with it. They know how to use it. And then once they have their family, and if their family's isolated from the tribe, they'll know how to defend their person and their family because of their formative year training. But you don't hear people talking like that. You don't hear people trying to implement that because society told us what the standard was, and we try to live by it. They told us how the educational system should be, what we should learn, and we go with it. Our situation is particular in this country. Nobody shares our history. So therefore, for us to be successful in this country, our steps are going to have to be a little different than everybody else. Our process is going to be a little different than everybody else. And there's nothing wrong with that, because differences are a part of life. You get what I'm telling you? Differences are a part of life. You cannot avoid differences. Everybody is different, even on a personal level. Nobody's like me. There's no other me. Not in a conceited way. This is not, you know, me, you know, tooting my own horn, or, you know what I'm saying, all on me. I'm just saying, honestly, sincerely, there's nobody like me. There's nobody like you, you know? But me being me, there are things that are in common with who I am, that are similar, that have similarities to what I believe in, who I am. That's how you build your connection. especially those of like kind as far as genealogy, ancestry. That right there should be a natural connection, even though that person might be different than you. Just that fact alone, common struggle should unify you, should. I'm still speaking in terms of idealism right now, you know, because that's not the case in our reality right now, but that should be a reason that you become tight-knit with somebody. You know what I'm saying? The next phase is common goal, common aspiration. That should make you a tighter-knit group. You know what I'm saying? The next step is the method in which we're going to proceed. That should make you a tighter-knit group. You know? All these things being built upon. I know you're not going to come out the gate and everything going to be on one accord all the way through with a group of people. I get, like I said, differences are a part of life. So there are going to be some differences of opinion, differences of, you know, how I think we should go. I think we should go this way. Nah, let's go this way. You know what I'm saying? Nah, let's go this. It's going to be all that. But conversation is the key to all progression. Conversation is the key. If you talk about guns in your house, it won't be such a taboo subject when the subject is brought up, because they're gonna, whoever you're in the household with, they're gonna be influenced by information about whatever you don't share outside in the world. So if you don't want to talk about guns in the crib, they're gonna go out and get their understanding of guns out in the world. Sometimes the hard way, unfortunately, God forbid, but they're gonna get that understanding some kind of way. So why not be the one to break it down in the house? You know, conversation leads to all progression. So that being said, instead of us fearing firearms, guns as a people, we should consider, one, that it's not the guns that's killing people, it's the people behind them. You know what I'm saying? What's making them want to kill in a negative sense, especially among us. But, you know, they want us to talk about black on black crime, but really we're dying at the hands of them more so than us. But that's another topic. You might disagree, you might, but so we got to understand that it's the guns, it's the people killing people, not the guns. You know, two, we have to not be worried of being in the possession of or being around guns. We have to know how to use them, utilize them, make them practical. And then three, we should talk about it more. You know, just speak about it, bring it up, even if you don't like them. Express why you don't like them. You know, and be open-minded in the conversation and see what you can learn about that which you don't like. And maybe in time you might learn to appreciate or respect it, even if you don't like it, you know? But yeah, and again, it's a Second Amendment right. You have a right as a human being, forget their amendments. Even though it's in their Constitution, as a human being, you have the right to defend yourself. And if that tool is gonna get you a step closer to solidifying your means of defense, then why not use it? Why not use it? But I might have to do a part 2 to this right here. I'm gonna leave it right there. Yeah, think about that.
Never had a fighting chance, still I fight to be a man. As I stand on my own too, nothing much to lose. Calamity damaged me in the form of bad news, nothing new. My mentality is strapped against setbacks, trapped. But this pride of mine won't let me take a step back. It's a shame we can't change what was made to be. At birth, worst turned to worse, as if a curse since my first day was placed on me. A victim of deception before my conception makes it hard to breathe. Fighting to live until the day I leave. Manifested aggression lessens my chances of staying free. The deck stacked, it doesn't change the fact that they always on attack.